You've been lied to your entire life about exercise. Every doctor, every fitness influencer, every well-meaning family member has told you the same thing. Walk more, get your steps in, hit that magical 10,000 steps a day and you'll stay healthy forever. But here's what nobody wants you to know. A groundbreaking 2021 systematic review examining 25 studies with 1,388 participants over 50 found something that shocked the medical community. Adults who performed specific seated exercises showed significant improvements in upper extremity strength, lower extremity function, and functional capacity compared to traditional walking programs. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between being able to lift your grandchildren and struggling to get out of a chair, between hiking trails at 75 and shuffling to the mailbox at 65. The walking industry doesn't want you to know this. Shoe companies, fitness trackers, treadmill manufacturers, they've built a multi-billion-dollar empire on the idea that walking is the ultimate exercise for seniors. But orthopedic surgeons have known the truth for decades. Walking is wonderful for cardiovascular health, but it does almost nothing for the muscle loss that begins attacking your body after age 60. This condition is called sarcopenia, and it steals roughly 3 to 5% of your muscle mass every single decade after you hit 30. By the time you reach 70, you may have lost 30% of your strength. Walking cannot stop this, but these two chair exercises can. Research published in multiple peer-reviewed journals shows that seated resistance movements actually build muscle mass, while walking programs, even vigorous walking programs, show muscle loss in older adults. Same age group, same health conditions, completely opposite outcomes. And the most incredible part? The number one exercise on this list increased bone mineral density by over 6% in just 4 months in participants over 65. Surgeons are now prescribing this exact movement to patients before hip replacement surgery because it works better than any physical therapy protocol they've ever used. Before we begin, drop a comment right now with your age and where you're watching from. We read and respond to every single comment because your participation helps this content reach more seniors who desperately need this information. Now, let's reveal the 2 chair exercises that orthopedic surgeons say are more important than walking after 60. Number 2, seated knee extensions. Let's start with the exercise that targets the muscle determining whether you can climb stairs, get out of a car, or stand up from a toilet without assistance. Your quadriceps, the large muscles on the front of your thighs, are the primary movers for all of these daily activities, and they deteriorate faster than almost any other muscle group as you age. Research published in 2020 found that adults over 60 lose quadriceps strength at nearly double the rate of younger adults. The study tracked 400 participants over 5 years and discovered that those who didn't perform targeted leg exercises lost an average of 16% of their thigh muscle mass. The group that performed seated knee extensions 3 times weekly, they actually gained 4% muscle mass. That's a 20% difference in outcomes from one simple exercise. Here's why walking fails to protect your quadriceps. When you walk on flat ground, your quads barely activate. They engage slightly when you swing your leg forward, but they never work against significant resistance. Your body adapts to demands. If you never ask your quadriceps to work hard, they will shrink. Seated knee extensions force your quads to lift your entire lower leg against gravity. This creates the resistance signal your muscles need to grow stronger. To perform this movement correctly, sit tall in a sturdy chair with your back pressed firmly against the backrest. Grip the sides of the seat for stability. Your feet should be flat on the floor, positioned about hip-width apart. Now, straighten one leg out in front of you until your knee is completely extended. Your toes should point toward the ceiling. This is critical. Full extension is where the magic happens. Hold this position for 3 full seconds while squeezing your thigh muscle as hard as you can. You should feel a burning sensation in the front of your leg. This isn't just discomfort, it's your muscle fibers recruiting maximum force, which is exactly what triggers growth. Then lower your foot slowly back to the floor over a count of 4 seconds. This slow lowering phase, called eccentric contraction, is actually more important than the lifting phase for building muscle strength. Studies show eccentric contractions create more muscle damage, the good kind, that force your body to rebuild stronger fibers. Switch to the other leg and repeat. Aim for 12 repetitions on each side to start. Rest for 30 seconds, then perform 2 more sets. The key to maximum benefit is that squeeze at the top. Don't just lift your leg and let it hang there. Actively contract your quadriceps like you're trying to make the muscle pop out of your skin. This mind-muscle connection dramatically increases activation. Research published in 2023 in the European Journal of Applied Physiology showed that participants who focused on squeezing their muscles during exercises gained 31% more strength than those who just went through the motions. 31% just from intentionally contracting harder. Once bodyweight knee extensions become easy, and they will after 2 to 3 weeks of consistent practice, you can add resistance. Ankle weights are perfect for this. Start with just 2 pounds and gradually increase over time. You can also loop a resistance band around your ankles to add progressive tension. Here's what makes this exercise so powerful. Orthopedic surgeons recommend it to every patient over 60 because strong quadriceps protect your knees from arthritis progression. The muscle acts as a shock absorber, reducing the stress on your joint with every step you take. Weak quads mean your knee joint absorbs all that impact directly. Strong quads mean the muscle distributes the force, protecting cartilage and reducing pain. Perform seated knee extensions 3 times a week. Your muscles need 48 hours to recover and adapt between sessions. Within just 4 weeks, you'll notice everyday activities feel dramatically easier. Stairs won't wind you. Getting out of low chairs won't be a struggle. You'll move through your day with confidence you may not have felt in years. But there's one exercise even more important than this, one movement that addresses the single biggest threat to your independence after 60. Before we reveal it, if you're finding this valuable, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. We publish powerful senior health content every single day, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Number 1, sit to stand chair squats. If you only do one exercise for the rest of your life, this should be it. The sit-to-stand movement isn't just an exercise, it's a diagnostic test for longevity. Researchers have found that your ability to perform this movement predicts your risk of mortality better than almost any other health marker. A landmark study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology followed more than 2,000 adults over age 51 for an average of 6 years. Those who could not rise from a sitting position on the floor without using their hands were 5 to 6 times more likely to die during the study period. 5 to 6 times from one simple test of functional strength. The sit-to-stand chair squat engages virtually every major muscle group in your lower body simultaneously. Your quadriceps straighten your knees, your glutes extend your hips, your calves stabilize your ankles, your core maintains your balance, your back keeps your spine aligned. No other single exercise provides this comprehensive activation, not walking, not cycling, not even swimming. And here's what makes it even more powerful. The sit-to-stand squat directly replicates a movement you perform dozens of times every single day. Every time you get out of bed, rise from a chair, exit a car, or use the bathroom, you're performing a sit-to-stand. By training this movement pattern, you're not building theoretical strength that exists only in the gym. You're building functional strength that immediately transfers to your daily life. Recent research published in 2024 found something remarkable. Adults over 65 who performed sit-to-stand exercises 3 times weekly for 4 months increased their hip bone mineral density by 6.57%. Let me repeat that. They increased bone density by over 6% in just 4 months. This is extraordinary because bone density typically decreases with age at about 1% per year. These participants reversed 7 years of expected bone loss in a third of a year. The mechanical stress of standing up from a chair sends powerful signals to your bones that tell them to lay down new tissue. Stronger, denser bones mean dramatically reduced fracture risk if you do happen to fall. And falls are no minor concern. 30% of seniors who break a hip die within 1 year of the fracture. Orthopedic surgeons have started prescribing sit-to-stand exercises as preventative medicine. They know that patients with strong legs and dense bones have far better surgical outcomes. Many surgeons now require a minimum number of sit-to-stands before they'll even schedule an elective hip or knee replacement procedure. Here's how to perform this life-changing exercise with maximum benefit. Start seated in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, positioned slightly wider than hip-width apart. This wider stance provides better stability and allows for more natural hip mechanics. Cross your arms over your chest. This is absolutely critical. Crossing your arms prevents you from using your hands to push off, which would defeat the entire purpose of training your legs. Your legs must do 100% of the work. Lean forward slightly from your hips, not your lower back, until your weight shifts over your feet. This forward lean is essential. It moves your center of mass over your base of support, making the movement about 30% easier biomechanically. Without this forward lean, you're fighting gravity at the worst possible angle, which dramatically increases the difficulty and reduces how many repetitions you can perform. Now stand up by pushing through your heels. Drive straight up until your knees and hips are fully extended. Don't stop halfway. Full extension is where you maximize muscle engagement and bone loading. Pause at the top for 1 full second. Stand tall. Feel your muscles working. Then lower yourself back to the chair over a count of 4 seconds. This is where most people make their biggest mistake. They simply plop down into the chair. Don't do this, you're losing half the benefit. The slow descent creates eccentric loading that builds tremendous strength. Your muscles work harder to control your descent than they did to lift you up. This eccentric phase is where you build the power you need for stair descent, the movement that terrifies most seniors. Gently touch your bottom to the seat, but don't fully relax. Immediately begin your next repetition. This continuous tension keeps your muscles engaged throughout the entire set. Start with 10 repetitions if you're new to this exercise. That might sound easy, but if you're doing it correctly with proper form, full range of motion, and that slow 4-second descent, 10 reps will challenge you. Work up to 3 sets of 15 repetitions. Once that becomes manageable, you have 3 options to increase difficulty. First, you can slow down the descent even more. Try 6 or even 8 seconds lowering. This dramatically increases the eccentric load without requiring any equipment. Second, you can hold a light weight against your chest. A gallon jug of water weighs about 8 pounds and works perfectly. As you get stronger, upgrade to a dumbbell or weighted object. Third, you can use a lower chair. The lower the chair, the greater the range of motion and the harder your muscles must work. This is advanced, so only progress to this after mastering the standard height. Perform sit-to-stand chair squats every other day. Your muscles need adequate recovery time to adapt and grow stronger. Combine this with the seated knee extensions we discussed earlier, and you have a complete lower body strengthening program that takes less than 15 minutes 3 times a week. But here's what shocked researchers the most. Within just 4 weeks of consistent practice, most participants reported that everyday activities felt fundamentally different, not just easier, different. Stairs that once required holding the railing became optional. Cars that required a careful exit strategy became simple. Chairs that once felt low and uncomfortable became normal. One study participant, a 74-year-old woman, said she started taking stairs instead of elevators just because she could, something she hadn't done in over a decade. Her strength hadn't just improved, it had transformed her daily experience of living. Why these 2 exercises beat walking? Let's address the elephant in the room. Walking is not bad. Walking improves cardiovascular health, helps manage blood sugar, supports mental health, and keeps you mobile. If you enjoy walking, keep doing it. But walking alone will not prevent the muscle loss that threatens your independence. Here's why. Walking is a submaximal activity that uses the same movement pattern repetitively. Your muscles adapt quickly and then stop growing. After a few weeks of regular walking, your body becomes efficient at the movement, which means it requires less muscle fiber recruitment. Efficiency is the enemy of muscle growth. Seated resistance exercises like knee extensions and sit-to-stand squats work differently. They create progressive overload, the principle that muscles must be challenged beyond their current capacity to grow stronger. Each time you add a second to your hold, increase your repetitions, or add resistance, you're forcing your muscles to adapt. A systematic review of chair-based exercise programs demonstrated improvements in hand grip strength, arm curl performance, and 30-second chair stand tests across multiple studies. The meta-analysis showed that seated-based exercises significantly improved both upper and lower extremity function in adults over 50. Walking showed no such improvements in muscle mass or strength markers. Research comparing seated machine training versus walking programs found that both training interventions were effective in improving overall function, but the seated exercises showed superior gains in specific strength measures that directly impact daily activities. The truth is that both forms of exercise serve different purposes. Walking maintains your cardiovascular system. Seated resistance training maintains your muscular system. You need both, but if you had to choose only one after age 60, resistance training would give you more years of independent living. Your complete action plan. Here's exactly what to do starting today. Weeks 1 to 2, foundation phase. Perform seated knee extensions, 3 sets of 10 reps per leg. Perform sit-to-stand squats, 3 sets of 8 reps. Do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Focus entirely on perfect form, not adding difficulty. Weeks 3 to 4, progression phase. Increase knee extensions to 12 reps per leg. Increase sit-to-stands to 12 reps. Add 1 second to your knee extension hold, now 5 seconds. Add 1 second to your sit-to-stand descent, now 5 seconds. Weeks 5 to 8, advancement phase. Consider adding 2-pound ankle weights to knee extensions. Hold a light object, jug water, during sit-to-stands. Aim for 3 sets of 15 reps on both exercises. Continue 3 times weekly with rest days between. Month 3 and beyond, maintenance phase. Continue progressively increasing resistance as you get stronger. Maintain the 3 times weekly schedule. Celebrate your victories. Stairs getting easier, chairs feeling higher, confidence growing. The total time investment? About 15 to 20 minutes 3 times per week. Compare that to the freedom of never worrying about your strength again. Compare that to hiking with grandchildren, traveling without limitations, living in a multi-story home with confidence. Compare that to maintaining your independence for the next 20 years. What surgeons wish every senior knew. Orthopedic surgeons see the consequences of muscle loss every single day. They operate on patients whose weak legs led to falls. They replace joints that deteriorated because surrounding muscles couldn't support them. They watch families struggle with loved ones who no longer care for themselves. And they know something the fitness industry doesn't talk about. The decline is not inevitable, it's preventable. Dr. Sarah Cartwright, an orthopedic surgeon at a major teaching hospital, told her colleagues at a recent conference, "If I could mandate one intervention for every patient over 60, it would be sit-to-stand exercises 3 times weekly. Not medication, not supplements, just this one movement pattern performed consistently. I've seen it prevent more surgeries than any drug I can prescribe." The research backs this up. Studies show that older adults who maintain leg strength through resistance training have significantly lower rates of hip fractures, knee replacements, and falls requiring hospitalization. They live longer. They live better. They maintain independence longer than peers who only walk. Walking has its place. Cardiovascular health matters. But if you want to maintain the strength to actually enjoy your life, to get down on the floor with grandchildren and back up again, to carry your own groceries, to travel without worry, to age in place safely, you need resistance training. You need these 2 exercises. The bottom line, these 2 chair exercises represent what orthopedic surgeons wish every patient over 60 would do: seated knee extensions and sit-to-stand chair squats. The research is overwhelming. The medical community has reached consensus. Seated exercises that challenge your muscles against resistance produce superior outcomes for functional strength, bone density, and long-term independence compared to walking alone. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't even need to be particularly athletic. You just need a sturdy chair and 15 to 20 minutes 3 times per week. That small investment can add years of independent, active living to your life. Start with seated knee extensions today. Master them over the next week. Then add sit-to-stand squats. Progress at your own pace. Your body will adapt, your strength will return, your confidence will grow. Your future self, the one hiking trails at 75, playing with grandchildren on the floor at 80, living independently at 85, will thank you for the strength you built today. Now we want to hear from you. Which of these 2 exercises are you most excited to try first? Have you been told that walking is the only exercise you need after 60? What daily activity has gotten harder for you lately? Share your experiences in the comments below. We read every single one and reply with personalized guidance. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to take their first step towards better mobility and independence. Thanks for watching. Your strength matters. Your independence matters. And your willingness to invest 15 minutes 3 times a week might literally change the trajectory of your next 20 years.